Look, how about the price of oil? $40 a barrel as we speak. Let's bring in the world's authority on oil. That would be Daniel Yergin, who joins us again right now. Daniel, will the Biden administration end America's energy independence and America's energy dominance?
I don't think so yet. I think there's a battle that's going to go on within a new administration about what to do. I think that it has a lot of momentum still to it, and a lot of the control over what happens to oil is actually at the state level. So I think the big question actually is what you were kind of hinting at before, is what happens to the price and whether the price is high enough to encourage the continuing scale of investment that's needed.
So what do you think is going to happen to the price?
I think that the price is stuck right now, we might call it virus alley. It's boxed in. There are some positive signs. Very interesting that we're seeing oil demand in both India and China, which are the two big growth markets, actually up compared to where they were last year. And of course, there's a vaccine hope, but then reality sets in that the vaccine is not tomorrow. The downside, Stuart, is what you see in Europe with the resurgent virus and in the United States. And I was just looking this morning, we survey 15,000 gasoline stations every week, and gasoline demand has gone down, and it's particularly gone down in the parts of the U.S. that have been hardest hit by the virus. So I think while the virus is still going to continue to sit on the oil price until we get to that world called the vaccine.
I'm looking at gasoline average price for regular in America now is $2.13 a gallon. That's a very depressed price. How much did demand come down for gasoline in the United States? Was it a big drop?
It came down compared. If we went back a few weeks ago when things looked better, it was down about 15% compared to last year. Now it's down about 20%, and particularly in the upper Midwest, that area that's been particularly hard hit, and in the Southwest and Texas.
I'm listening carefully to what you're saying, Daniel, and it sounds to me like we're not going to get back to even $60 or $70 a barrel oil for a long time. Would you agree with that?
I think the hypothesis, the bet I would make right now is that we're really the middle of next year is when we would start to see the real recovery from this, when a lot of people have been vaccinated and the vaccines they're competitive vaccines out there. I think until then we're gonna live in this virus world, and that sits on the economy and certainly sits on the oil price.
Why should I buy an electric car when gasoline is $2 a gallon?
That has been a recurrent problem. When gasoline is cheap, why buy it? And I think that you still have to see the cost of batteries to come down and to really make it competitive. And there's a lot of debate about how fast that will come down and how quickly it will happen. But I think if you look out to 2050, there'll be a lot of electric cars, or 2040s, but it's still, last year total sales was 2% of total sales in the world, and that's still a pretty small number.
Oil is still a very important commodity, is it not?
It is indeed still the single most important lifeblood of the world economy. You don't move ships, you don't move airplanes, you don't move cars. So all of that depends upon this central commodity. And I think by 2022, we will be back to the demand level that we had in 2019.
2022, that's a long way away. Daniel Yergin, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon.
Not that far, Stuart.
To me, it's a long way away, but there you go. After 2020, it's a very long way away.
Well,
Daniel,
look to the middle of 2021.
All right, we'll see you again soon. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. Bye-bye.